Now I bet that you all know about Fabric, the fast and lightweight modloader that took the modded Minecraft scene by its slime balls and yoinked it into the modern age. But what many people don't know is why this happened, and why Fabric is actually as good as people think. And is the radically different way that Fabric works on worth the countless of older mods that will never work on it? Hi, I'm Lunar, and welcome to part 2 of my series diving into the history and future of various mod loaders. And today we are talking about the darling of the modding scene, Fabric. So sit back, relax, and let me take you on the journey through Minecraft's history once again. Oh, and while you're here, hit that little sub button for more deep dives like this one. Alright, YouTuber stuff out of the way, let us dive in once again. In our previous part, we talked about Forge and its rise to the modloader that we all know and love today, with it being a fork from Rizugami's modloader turned into its own massive behemoth that drove the early days of modded Minecraft. However, over time, Forge became more and more complex, resulting in updates to newer versions being harder and harder each time. And as a result, many people had to wait weeks, if not months, in order for Forge to update. This resulted in a few people getting fed up with the long waits and the seemingly stubborn nature of Forge's development team, and then Mojang released the flattening, or for people who don't spend their days behind cold walls, update 1.13. See, besides implementing the dolphins, these selfless pricks, they also changed the way Minecraft handled block IDs. See, before this update, every block in Minecraft had its own numeric and string ID. The problem was that they ran out of numbers to give to blocks. See, in 1.12, every game was saved by saving the actual chunks in the game. Chunks being regions of 16 by 16 blocks, and these 16 by 16 regions would be stored into your save file. They also saved each subchunk, an 1 by 1 by 16 area, in a 12-bit number. This essentially meant that Mojang had a limit to how high they could number their blocks before hitting the 12-bit integer limit, meaning at some point they would have run out of numbers. So they switched to a string-based system, which we still use today. Now, for players, this really didn't have any impact except for your save file being slightly larger. But for Forge and its developers, it had pretty much changed everything, as a lot of mods use these numeric ideas over the string idea, as it saves time, because you can't really misspell the number 1. This again caused massive delays in Forge's development, and coincidentally, this is why a lot of old abandoned mods are stuck on 1.12. But in this turmoil emerged our subject of today, Fabric. With Forge taking ages to update because of the flattening, I almost misspoke there, Modmus and a few others thought to themselves, why don't we do it ourselves? And so they started development in 1.13 and releasing their announcement on December the 10th of 2018, promising a lightweight and modular ecosystem, a completely free and open source system, and the big one, Mixins. However, they did admit that this approach would have its downsides. Mainly, it would not be all-encompassing. Hence why they use Mixins. As discussed in part 1 of this series, Minecraft code is obfuscated, meaning it's not easy for a human to read what a line of code is actually doing. In order to make things easier, Surge made MCP, a tool that essentially made unreadable code readable for human eyes. This breakthrough allowed Forge to load mods straight into the Minecraft code, and thus allow mods to be developed on Forge. However, Fabric would use something different. It would use Mixins as its way to communicate to the vanilla game. This would have several benefits, mainly because Fabric was not using events to interact with Minecraft. It would in theory be more stable, and would allow for faster loading and more performance, as in effect, Mixins by itself doesn't really do anything on its own. But most importantly, these mappings would not be version dependent, meaning we could have the same API across multiple versions. In essence, this is the same as what the Sponge team does. As with that software, you don't code for a specific Minecraft version, you code for a specific API version. And if you would like to know more about that, I recommend checking out that video when you have the chance. But in essence, it's the secret sauce behind Fabric's performance, as when you load up a Forge mod pack, at the time it would load and inject every mod into Minecraft code the old school way. This took a long time and would require events to listen to changes during gameplay. With Fabric, once something is needed from a specific mod, Fabric would communicate with that mod, receive the data that you needed, and voila, it's there. However, this would come with a catch. If you wanted to create a mod yourself, chances are that you chose Forge. It would have all the hooks and presets ready to go, as it has a ton of support for small and niche things most devs just don't use. Fabric would not have this. If something was not in the Fabric API, you had to code it into Yarn itself, which is very cool that you could do that, but it's another barrier of entry Forge simply doesn't have. This is also what causes a lot of developers to shy away from Fabric. And it's the reason why you don't see very big mods on it, because for that mod to work, they would have to change a lot of stuff to the API itself and require them to code a separate library for the mod to work, which is a lot of work compared to Forge where it just works.
It doesn't just...
I say that, but at the same time, Create is on Fabric and I have no idea how these geniuses managed to pull that off. Personally, I'm calling witchcraft, but that's just me. So to recap, a radically new way of developing mods, interacting with Minecraft, and the promise of more performance. What's the community's reaction to this? Almost the very second Fabric got released, it was lauded as the final say in Minecraft modding, with people shouting off the rooftops that Fabric was the single best loader in existence, and that Forge is done for. The constant spamming about Fabric in Forge's Discord caused the Forge team to start removing any mention of it. This, combined with the image that Lex has of being somewhat abrasive, caused a split to occur in the modding scene, with players bickering who was better, and frustration to grow towards mod developers not switching to the preferred Modloader. This infighting grew with every update, and all hell broke loose when Quilt was birthed into reality. Started by i5, who was actually one of the maintainers of the Fabric project, it eventually morphed into a Modloader shrouded in drama. Drama I won't cover here, but by God there's a lot of it. But the main point you should take away from all of this drama is that one of the Fabric developers was accused of being transphobic, and thus they condemned the use of Fabric and urged people to use Quilt. Now, as of writing this script, I have yet to see any concrete evidence of anyone in the Fabric team being homophobic or transphobic. But who knows, maybe someone will magically deliver it into my inbox as soon as I release this video. But aside from that, Fabric has been very drama-free. It has proven itself a reliable and robust mod loader that not only rekindled a lot of people's love for modded Minecraft, but also created a radical new way for people to express their creativity. But with all that being said, what can we take away from this story? Well, yes, the Minecraft community right now is as welcoming as a wasp's nest over an open flame. It's comforting to see talented people still striving towards what they want to do. But most importantly, it's a good lesson that just because something is a standard, that doesn't mean there's no other ways of doing it better. While yes, Forge has a wider array of supported features, its bulkiness comes at a cost that a lot of people are hyper-focused on: performance. And while Fabric has more FPS, it comes at the cost of developers having to put in a lot more effort to create the same product on both loaders. Some developers chose to have dual compilers like Young, but others like Spiger chose to not even bother with Fabric early on, as it lacked a lot of stuff that he needed. And while yes, there's now a split between communities, ultimately I can't help but admire the hard work and dedication these people have put into a project that they thought could help the game we love become even more better. But with that all being said, I was Lunar, you were very awesome, and I'll see you in the next part.